Marsh, my buddy Zach, who's from back home, who lives down here, and then maybe a couple others. But it and a bunch of people that don't drink actually, which is really funny because I'm going to pound a fifth of whiskey for sure.
Hey man,
What's funny? We went to Zone 208 last night to have some wings to celebrate our good news, and the dude. First, we went to Casey's Burgers. We were gonna go there. Parking lot was packed, like on all around it, like the tap room, everything. So Zany's parking lot packed. We're like, okay, we're not gonna be able to go in Zany's. Went downtown, like dude, everywhere, like everywhere was just packed. Like what? Oh, okay, everything's over. Pandemic's over.
it's been over for all of Idaho the whole time.
Oh,
No,
they're like,
more so than usual. I mean, like it was like
no, people in North Idaho are basically saying like, oh, this was all just a conspiracy to get Trump out of office, right? So now that Trump's out of office, we don't have to pretend that it's real anymore. Dumb fuckers, man. Dumb fuckers. People are doing it here too. People want to act like Boise's the city, so it's better. Sure, if you live within 1 mile of downtown, you're probably normal folk. But you go 1 mile in any direction outside of it, you're just fucking in Idaho still. I mean, it's just it's cowboy boots and lifted trucks and people with tattered American flags hanging out.
Caldwell's right there,
dude. And when COVID started, those people from Caldwell and Nampa were the ones who drove into fucking Boise. They went to we have places here that'll hand out masks like downtown. Like if you don't have one, there's little booths. They would go to those booths and they would burn all the masks. Like this is fucking no better here. There was people with fucking like swastika flags and KKK shit, the new lightning bolt that they use instead. Yeah. That all was happening here like crazy. Like Boise, it's still fucking Idaho, man. It makes me sick. Like Sean Marsh just decided he doesn't want to live here anymore. So he just up and got an apartment in Seattle. He was like, I can't live here anymore. Rent's down 14% in Seattle and up 9% in Boise. Why the fuck would I stay? So
yeah, that's actually crazy.
Good point.
Yeah, we're the highest increase. We're actually we're the only city with an increase. Every other major city is down 14 to 20% in rent. So which New York's down 20%, Boston's down 19%. Yeah, it does make sense. There's no reason to work in a city if you can work remotely forever. So people are moving to Idaho, and my new place, I have to move in 2 months. Like I'm officially like can't live in this house anymore because she's finally going to sell it, because she's like, I'm never moving back to Idaho. Fuck Idaho. So she's going to finally sell the house. So I have like 2 months to find a place, which is super stressful because a 1 bedroom, 1 bath here right now, not even nice. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 500 square feet is $1,200. And that's
cheap. My God.
Cheap.
What does Idaho think they are? Did they forget their Idaho?
So yeah, I basically I had to hold. I didn't sign the lease yesterday, but I put a hold on a place just so it doesn't go up even more yesterday. Like I filled out all the paperwork, paid $150 just to hold it. And the guy's surprisingly, the guy who gave me a tour ended up being my best friend from Coeur d'Alene's little brother. He's like, "Are you Carell's buddy?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Zach Swan, fuck." I was like, "Small world." And he was like, "Dude, you got to put a hold on this," because he's like, people from California are signing these year leases sight unseen right now. He's like, we're raising the price of these apartments every single day online, every single day. He's like, this apartment was $1,100 last week. It's $1,200 today. And he's like, I'll lower it a little bit for you. But like, I'm not going to do that for anybody else. Like I could sell this to a Californian for $1,300 tomorrow. So I don't want to be here anymore. Like, to be honest, like I have no desire.
You can go buy a house for as much as that is.
That's a mortgage. $1,300, $1,200 is a mortgage. And he goes, and Zach,
we're looking at.
He's like, and Zach, none of these extra perks that we would charge you for, I don't have to include any of them. You can opt out of all of them except for the cable. You got it. You have to have cable enabled in your apartment. I was like, dude, I have YouTube TV and you can DVR shit. I do not want cable. Like it's a $25 charge. I know it's not a lot, but fucking take it off. Like I don't want it. I won't use it. And he was just like, it's kind of mandatory. I can't not charging.
Is it internet too, or is it just cable TV?
Yeah, it's Sparklight.
Oh.
You get cable with it. So
weird.
But I already have Sparklight, and I don't want to share it. I would rather use my setup. So
yeah, you don't want to. I think it's cool when apartments kind of have that option, but not when it's that like that.
Not when
this
you
is
work
a sports show, by the way.
Yeah, and not when you work for. Oh, are we live?
We've been live.
Yeah, and not when you work from home though. Like when you work from home, I'll get like 30 more seconds in. Not when you work from home. When you work from home, you so we use like our VPN, right? Like any company that works from home, you're going to use a VPN. It's going to drastically slow your speeds down. So if you're sharing like community internet, like you're not getting anywhere close to the speeds that you're paying for. So it's just something to consider. So like Boise's nuts.
I know about using a VPN because I work from home.
That's right. The VPN now. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I use one from home anyways. We got to get hey, we're the only podcast in the world that's not sponsored by a VPN. Every other one has at least one VPN sponsor.
In our defense, we're not sponsored by anything. So
well, yeah, we
should.
Unofficially.
We unofficially we are.
The wooden nickel or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
And Wolf Cola, if it existed.
What?
Wolf Cola. This is the official show of Wolf Cola and Frank Reynolds.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Oh, hey. Didn't see you there.
It's the sports program on TSPN with Derek, Zach, and Sean, who's been here the whole time. Head over to timespentpoorly.com and give the show a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and help move this show into more people's suggested lists. This show is also streamed live on many platforms, including YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Follow and subscribe so you don't miss out on an opportunity to chat in and give the guys a piece of your mind during the broadcast. Want to support the show? Great! Go to patreon.com/timespentpoorly to see how you can do that. And now it's my pleasure to bring you the hosts of the sports program on TSPN, Derek, Zach, and Sean.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the show.
You know what really wanted to do this week? And it just came down to, like most things, just a simple, too lazy to actually go do it, is I wanted to take that GIF of Bernie Sanders, or the picture of Bernie Sanders that's been added to everything this week, and then put it behind Sean. Like he's also here. Always been here.
Yeah.
That's great.
I was like, that's effort, and that's not something that any of us want to do. We need a person we need Ward to do that for us.
Daddy.
We need Daddy Ward to do it for
Daddy
us.
Ward.
That was good. Daddy Ward.
Holy shit. I'm still dying from that. We're an improv group. That's it. That's all. We are.
That was off the cuff.
Oh my god. And then I was like, after you cut in, and I was like, I wonder what he's gonna do for the It was awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Great lead into the show. We talked some shop. We talked a little
yeah.
Little cost of living.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna talk.
None of it's worth it. Let's all move to Illinois.
No,
guys, let's just all get an apartment together.
I've been watching a lot of New Girl, and I'm in.
I know. That's what got me thinking about it. Also, we just need some super annoying chick now.
You what?
I feel like the commune idea.
Yeah, I mean, let's build those. Let's go build some the big boxes things. What are those called?
Go do the container.
Yeah.
The container houses, dude. Those are pretty cool, man.
They are cool. We can do our own Ruby Ridge, but without the racism.
Yeah.
Or just like a very specific thing that we're all prejudiced about that like no one else would be prejudiced about, like aliens.
Aliens.
I hope we don't get any aliens in here.
As long as we don't get any UFOs flying around here.
I can't.
If I
How
see
about,
it-
how about zombies?
Yeah.
Because I'm
Whatever
really
it is, we just need a flag that has like a big X through a picture of one, just so they know they're not welcome.
Yes. Well, zombies aren't.
No, and they aren't, and like that's smart to not welcome them. into
Yeah.
your home.
They're zombies. They're not good.
Mm.
Welcome to the
Not
show.
good for the economy.
Not good for the economy. Welcome to the show, everyone. It's the AFC and NFC Championship weekend. That means Super Bowl is in 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 weeks from now. Also, next weekend is. I want to make sure this is right. No way. So yeah, the Super Bowl's in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, correct.
So because it's always 2 weeks from the end of the thing. No.
Well, because they started doing the Pro Bowl in between, right? So
Yeah. So it's not 2 weeks. It's 3 weeks. No, 2 weeks. That's right.
no, it's 2 weeks, man. It's for
Yeah.
sure.
2 weeks. Yeah. February 7th,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Whoa, the Texans
Royal-
interviewed McCown.
Oh.
McCown is their. Oh wow! Texans interview QB coach or QB Josh McCown and Jim Caldwell for head coaching opening.
Damn.
Dude, Josh
Going straight
McCown-
from high school to
I'm
high
rooting
school
for
to
Josh
the big
McCown.
leagues.
I'm
Dude,
rooting for Josh McCown.
I absolutely like Jim Caldwell's had his chance. Sometimes he might have gotten a fair rub. No one really got their chance in Detroit, right? Like to say that you got a chance in Detroit is not really getting a chance. If you go to any other organization and get a shot as a head coach, then you got your chance. But I don't count someone as like going to Detroit or New York. If you go to the Jets, you didn't get a chance to be a head coach. You got thrown under the bus for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But but still, Caldwell's 66, McCown is 43 or 44. Like,
yeah,
these young offensive-minded coaches are the way.
They are the way.
This is the way.
I think it'd be awesome. I mean, obviously, it's not quite fair to people who have had their shot, but I did hear an interview with Brandon Staley though for the Chargers, and he seems like a cool guy.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, the Falcons also went young, right? Like I think the guy we hired ended up only being 38 years old. The Titans OC that we picked up, which I mean,
yeah,
obviously steal of the offseason so far, since he was the only candidate to interview for 6 openings, which means that like everyone wanted him. The rumor was that like 4 teams offered him a job, and then he took Atlanta. So I'm assuming Arthur Blank threw a lot of money at him, because that's a shitty situation to go into, right? Like, I personally would not want to go be the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons right now, because of like, I believe they're going to be $30 million above the salary cap next year.
Ooh.
So you can't go get players.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do with that situation? I don't know, though. I've been reading a lot of mock drafts, and so it sounds like they're going to probably draft a quarterback at 4 and keep Matt Ryan and Julio Jones and just slowly work that guy in, which, as long as it's not Justin Fields, I'm fine, baby. Or the guy or Zach Wilson, I'm fine, baby.
So,
and then what about on the Steelers got Dwayne Haskins this week?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was great. He's so young still too, man.
If you think he's a good QB, I mean, he's better than Mason.
He's better than Mason Rudolph. Also, he is a good quarterback. Hopefully he learned from his mistakes. Also, I like Zach's point about him, he's from DC, so that was probably not a good equation even in the first place for him to be a hometown guy. So now that he'll be a transplant, it's probably a little harder to get into trouble. I don't know. I'm willing to give him a shot. I mean, at this point, I do like that they went kind of the route of like, because Dwayne Haskins also is quick on his feet, and
right.
So
he's a big guy.
And he's a big guy, so it's kind of like getting. I do think that he could. It probably would have been cooler for him to not have been on the Washington football team this year, and have him go to the Steelers last year, so that he could have like 2 seasons behind Ben, maybe. But
yeah.
But at the same time, I'm optimistic. I mean, I'll keep an open heart on it.
It's not. He's no longer in Washington, which is a plus. Mm-hmm. And then he's also not going to an organization that's going to completely make him change, right? Like, he wouldn't work in the Patriots where they're going to say, you have to change completely everything about who you are. Like, they wouldn't even go after a guy like that. He's going to Pittsburgh, who kind of just lets people be themselves, but also does a good enough job of keeping them out of trouble, right? Yeah. Like, I think any change of scenery was gonna keep him out of trouble. So, yeah, hopefully they can corral him in enough. I think it's a good situation.
I also want to say that even though like Juju had his stuff this season where he got a lot of ire from fans, but Juju's really good at like not getting in actual trouble though. Like, the dude's a streamer. Like, he plays video games on a stream, and like he doesn't get in a lot of trouble, and maybe having other players like that on his team will be good. Maybe a good example for Dwayne Haskins too. Like,
just like you really people.
Yeah, like Juju got into young guy trouble with like his stuff on the logo and all that, but like he doesn't go out and like get in like gun trouble or go to clubs and get hurt or stuff like that. Like, on his spare time, he goes on Twitch and plays like Fortnite.
Yeah, which I heard sucks out.
Just word on the street, he's not very good.
I don't know.
He hit me up because he watches the show. He hit me up and he was like, "Dude, can you carry me to a couple duo dubs?"
I think Chase Claypool does the same kind of stuff. I think Chase Claypool's also kind of a Twitch guy too. Like, so that's cool. I mean, I just mean like I like that it's like maybe he could take some example from some guys and you don't have to go out and go to like clubs and stuff. Like, you can have fun, like kind of staying out of trouble.
And they're going to get him on the cheap for a couple of years too, right? Which is good because Claypool's on a rookie deal, Washington's on a rookie deal, Johnson's on a rookie deal. Your veteran receiver is like Juju, who's like 24.
Right.
He's your veteran. They have and their defense is so good, and they're young too.
Yeah.
Like, Ben was the old guy. Vance McDonald, RIP, was the old guy. I think the line isn't young, right? The offensive line isn't young, but they'll slowly start to build that for the next like wave too. And I think this team's set up for the future. That whole division,
good though, right?
They draft incredibly well, and
they do.
And this is the Ravens though, and so do the Browns these days. It's tough.
And this is Ben's last year on the contract. They're not going to give him another one. I think this is his last year playing because I don't see another team picking up Ben. Like, he's going to retire.
He seems like the type out of all these quarterbacks, he is the one dude who seems like he's going to retire with the team he started with. He's not going to do what every other quarterback does and go for one final ride somewhere else, right?
Tom,
I think he's true. Everyone, man. Everyone.
I could see a realm in which, because Pittsburgh doesn't fire head coaches, but coordinators come and go. I could see a world in which Roethlisberger retires and Pittsburgh keeps him on, is even a quarterback's coach or an offensive coordinator right away.
Do you think so? Someone that reminds me of a player who is going to do that same thing, Russell Wilson. I feel like I don't ever see him leaving Seattle.
No, he's not going anywhere, man. There's no way. He's beloved.
I'm not even talking like trade. Well, I mean, obviously, if he sucked, they would get rid of him, but he doesn't. But I feel like he loves players too.
Well, he's also
think
a Seattle Golden Boy too, and he has so much money invested in the Pacific Northwest. Like it wouldn't make fiscal sense for him to go anywhere. He's already invested. Like he's one of the guys trying to bring the Supersonics back. He's one of the guys that was behind the hockey team. He's one of the guys that's behind. They're trying to get Portland a baseball team. Yeah. Like he's doing all of this stuff in the Pacific Northwest. Like it just doesn't make sense for him to go anywhere.
I totally agree. I think he's more of like a Drew Brees, right? Like even if he had like a pretty rough final year, they'd ride him out, right? Like they would let him go out on his own terms.
Drew didn't announce a retirement yet, right?
No, not yet.
But we know
he's gone.
Phil did though. Oh, also on the Russell Wilson thing, I was saying this a few years ago on the show. I still think it's a possibility because the Mariners make stupid mistakes all the time. I think there'd be a likelihood of Russell Wilson retiring and then the Mariners making a trade to bring him with the Yankees to bring him as a Mariner for a season.
God,
to retire as both. God. They make so many stupid. They did. Yeah. Dude, Ichiro was so past his prime, and they're like, we want him to retire a Mariner. So they did it.
Dude, I mean, they had nothing to lose there, though.
No.
Like, realistically, they were going to be the same team with or without him. So why not ride it out?
Ichiro made some pretty good catches in that last season, though. So
I don't want to just immediately bombard football and stay on it, but we're probably going to do that today because why not? But speaking of drafting well in that division, every mock draft I've read, everyone, and I read a lot of mock drafts, every single one at 3 has the Bengals going with, or not. Is it 3? It might be 2. I'm trying to think of what pick that actually is. But it has the Bengals getting Jamar Chase. Is it Jamar Chase? Is that how you say it? Yeah, Jamar Chase from LSU, which is the one who played with
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. When they won the national championship, and he was like out this whole season, right? Like, so people forgot.
What position does he play?
He's a receiver. He is the best receiver in college football. Everyone forgot about it because the guy from Alabama just went absolutely ham. And like the thing about the dude from Alabama is Devonta Smith. He's not even the best receiver at Alabama. Like he just had a monster year. So like Chase will probably end up going to the Bengals, and then we have Burrow and Chase. And then, like, that whole division is just young and stacked. Like, I don't know. Pretty exciting. But I don't think anyone's bad. I think it's going to be, like, one of those divisions where every team can compete, right? Like, they might even get 2 wild cards next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not the Bengals, though. They'll be exciting, but they'll still be bad.
You think so?
They're not going to be – they have to play the Browns twice. They have to play the Steelers twice.
Right.
They have to play the Ravens twice. They're still going to lose those games on the road.
Yeah. Speaking of the division, also just real quick, the Ravens also waived Robert RG3.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
He just gets hurt so easy, man. You can't invest in a backup that falls apart anytime he gets touched. And I mean, he ran the ball in that one. Was it the Steeler game? The really weird timing Steeler game where super boring game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of changes. I still feel like I see a lot of stuff. I know Randy specifically, friend of the show, also has his own show. He's even commented on this.
I was gonna say, is that who that is?
I haven't read this yet. He is dead set on saying that Watson is going to go to the Jets, and I don't agree.
I don't agree too. What world are you? Is he's a Jets fan? Is that why?
He's a Jets fan, yeah.
Okay, well, that's not going to happen. I don't think.
I don't disagree. So here's the thing: that division has way more what we would call like draft capital, right? So the Jets pick 2, Miami picks 3. That's who picks 3, by the way, or 4. Either way, it's 3. Yeah, it's 3. I was wrong about Cincy. They're 5. Miami's 3 because they got that from the Houston Texans in that trade. Guaranteed, if you know Watson does not want to play for you and you're Houston, take the second or the third pick of the draft, right? I think Miami makes more sense because they can get the third pick plus getting Tua, which none of us are sold on Tua, I don't think. But at least then you have a quarterback, like he's there, right? Is he implying a first-round pick and Darnold for him?
Well, actually, I was just going to chime in. I think if they could do the first-round pick and Darnold,
they might have to do.
I would go for if I was Houston.
He says 4 first-round picks in the next 2 years. If they give 2 of those even in Darnold, I bet they could do it.
Yeah,
and I think that's a good trade.
But do you think the swap in Miami is more plausible than the Jets deal?
I do, only because I think the Miami is a much better run organization, so they're more likely to figure it out, right? Where the Jets and the Houston Texans, that's like asking 2 blacked out chicks to make an agreement with each other, right? Like, let's just take 2 people that are belligerent and have no idea what they're doing and are terribly disorganized, and 2 of the worst run organizations in the league, and the Jets suck. And let's just keep drilling into it.
Yeah.
I guess my only thing is, does he actually want to go to the Jets? If he wants out of Houston because Houston's bad, he definitely doesn't want to go to the Jets.
If you're Houston, who cares what Watson wants? Just
no,
trade him.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
I literally opened my phone for a second. The New York Jets are Deshaun Watson's preferred destination. I don't know why that would be his preferred destination, though.
And I'm totally joking about the Jets. For sure not joking about the Houston Texans, though. They're kind of a train wreck, right? But Jets can turn it around.
But who do they have? Why would Deshaun Watson want to go to the Jets? What do they have where he...
Well, we got Riz Nation right here. He can probably tell us.
It's because they have all the picks, though. That's what it is they could get a bunch of starters.
But you could... He wants to...
Oh, there you go.
Now you're speaking my language. Now you're talking. Except for
he has a no trade.
Oh, he has a no trade clause. So I guess you can't say fuck Houston in that, or Houston can't say fuck him in that situation, right? So, if that's where he wants to go, that makes it easy, though, baby. But
I mean, if he goes to New York, they're instantly a better team. That's for damn sure.
But I also think Watson would waive that no trade clause to go to Miami. Because they've already kind of started to turn it around. More of a project.
Talent-wise, I think Miami would be if you want to make a playoff run, Miami. I'm trying to think of what. I just don't get the.
I love the Miami coach too.
Is there a dark horse though in a trade for Watson? Is there another team that could pop in where you think he would be okay going there? Because there are going to be some other teams that need quarterbacks, right?
I am on so many 49ers things.
49ers are one of them. We know that Jimmy G's on his way out.
No, he's not. Not ever. George Kittle says he's not.
I would love if he stayed. I'm a fan. You know I'm a fan. He's a stallion, man.
Had he not been...
I don't know if I'm a fan or if I'm a fan,
I would suck his dick. I get what you're saying. He's a handsome man. He's a fucking...
I don't know if I'm a fan, but I'm a fan. Sorry, Mom.
You can tell he's from Chicago. Let's just say that.
Let's just say. You can tell? I didn't...
No,
I wouldn't.
His family's Italian. They're Italian. They're from Chicago. You can tell.
While I disagreed with Randy initially, I do somewhat like the move. I do think the Jets would be a better team once they get Watson, obviously.
Allen Robinson?
He's going to be on the move, man.
Yeah, from the Bears?
Oh, he's going to be on the move.
I'm just sick of all... I don't hate the Jets. I don't see it. I just don't see it happening.
I don't know, man. New York's always going to have that New York thing, right? I don't mean to transition to basketball, but no one thought the Nets would ever turn that ship around, and then instantly Kyrie goes, instantly Durant goes, and now they're a powerhouse, right? Now they can make Harden trades. Now they look like geniuses for stockpiling draft picks for all those years.
But last year, or was it the year before, they actually did pretty good, right?
They overachieved 2 years in a row. Realistically, last year they made the bubble even with Kyrie hurt. But
and KD wasn't playing. And then the year before that, even they did pretty good.
But they overachieved with a losing record, right? Like last year, they made the playoffs with a losing record. I mean, they still overachieved, sure, but they're also some of it had to do with the East. What you give them more credit for, though, is kind of what the Jets did. Is they turned players who don't want to be there, because like everyone thought they were stupid for trading the people they traded, but they don't want to be there, right? They're not going to re-sign. Now maybe they would want to re-sign if Watson was there, but at the time they didn't. So what they do is they turn those into future draft picks, stockpile them until people do want to play there, till you have the right management in place. And Nets are sitting pretty these days, even though they just lost to the Cavs twice. Jets could turn it around quick, man. The Dolphins turned it around quick. Think about how bad the Dolphins were until like a year ago for more than a decade. Yeah. So same with Houston. If they bring in the right people, the right GM, the right coach. Who didn't bring in the right coach? The Lions. Hilarious.
Oh my God, that interview!
Why do I recognize him? Where's he from? Who is he?
Saints, right? Is he from the Saints? Yeah.
I just remember. Was he a coordinator? What was he?
Yeah, he was a coordinator for the Saints this last year. Yeah, and he's totally like acting like they're going to be the toughest team in the world. Like, okay, that analogy is fine. But like, I still see them being that tough and then losing, right? Like, that's kind of just Detroit teams. Like, the Pistons used to be pretty tough too when they were winning, and then when they kept that mentality when they were a bad team too, and then they were just a tough bad team. Like, Detroit can be a tough bad team, but I could be wrong. There are some people who come in as head coaches, and it's hilarious at first, and you're like, wow, what a terrible move, and then. None of us are experts. We're just people on the internet who would like watching football. So that could be right.
Matt Patricia is returned to New England.
Everyone goes back, man. Everyone always goes back.
It's a better fit for him.
I think he was a fool for leaving. But
did you guys? Oh, every time. But you got to go make your money. I mean, every one of their coordinators does it at one point or another. And did you guys see, speaking of former coordinators there, you guys see Bill O'Brien is now in Alabama. Yeah. Taking Sarkisian's place as the offensive coordinator. I will say this. That just shows how smart they are in Alabama, right? Like they take a super talented, credentialed dude who kind of like met his like last straw somewhere, right? Like Sarkisian did at USC, Bill O'Brien did it with the Texans, and then give them a chance to rejuvenate their career, and they just capitalize on it for a couple of years. And then he'll move on somewhere else like Sarkisian did. And then they'll bring in another disgraced, I think is the right term for it. They just bring in these like former disgraced head coaches, and they make for great offensive and defensive coordinators.
Yeah.
I love what they did, but I also hate it because Alabama's another top recruiting class. Now they have another great offensive coordinator. Damn. Like,
because when you
rough to watch college football.
So is that? Did Bill O'Brien coach there before, or where?
No,
before he was a Houston's coach. Where did he coach?
So he was in college, right? He did that brief stint. He did that brief stint at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But before that, he was the offensive coordinator. He was in New England.
Okay,
that's where he came from. He's a New England guy.
Yeah,
like Romeo Cornell, who got a shot. Like, who was the other Notre Dame? Charlie Weiss, right? Charlie Weiss went from – wait, where did Bill O'Brien go? I'm totally wrong about where he did his brief college stint. But he went to college, coached for like a year, and totally bailed and went pro. I can't remember. So I'm hoping Riz Nation can pull us out of the gutter here. But
come on, Riz.
No, but he's just one of the many – like McDaniels, right? Like McDaniels left for a little bit and went to the Broncos, and then obviously realized he couldn't cut it, and then – went back to the Patriots as well. I think that's just the Patriots coaching tree that's taken over the league, and then not really, because it just doesn't ever seem to work, right? The Giants head coach this year was the special teams coach in New England, and people thought it was weird, right? Like, why are we giving the special teams guy from New England a head coaching job when they have really talented offensive and defensive coordinators who could get a job? I don't know. It's interesting. I think Patricia going back's awesome.
McDaniels is staying, right?
And McDaniels is staying. So they got like the crew back. Like
if you're any team, are you taking a chance on McDaniels at this point?
He only got one shot, right? Like that was just one chance. And it was with Jay Cutler, like maybe any other situation could have been, but I know we love Jay.
But I just mean the stuff with the Colts.
Just because he ripped cigs.
I just mean
because he bailed on the Colts, right?
Yeah, bailed on the Colts. It's like, do you take the chance of hiring him if there's a chance he's going to do that again?
I totally forgot about that. He was going to have the job, right?
He had the job,
and then he said, "Fuck that."
Well, they're guys. Think about how much better off the Colts ended up being because they didn't get him.
I like the Colts coach.
Well, yeah, and you can tell he might have been the backbone to Philadelphia because as soon as he disappeared, Colts were good. Philadelphia was bad. So.
I also liked what's his nuts from the Colts, the guy who's the coordinator for the Bears, defensive.
Caldwell?
No.
Was that who we're talking about?
No, the head coach.
Oh, no. Dude had cancer, right?
Yeah. I can't remember his name.
Chuck?
Chuck Pagano. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
the man. Dude, he's a great DC though. He's a great DC.
Well, the Colts didn't have they missed by You know what I'm saying.
The Colts had it. I mean,
but isn't that like Phillip Rivers left the same way he came in, right?
Yeah.
Getting the job done until he absolutely needs to get the job done, and then he just fills it at the end.
He was still at the end, yeah.
He was the same dude. Like you can't blame that on old age, right? Because that's just what he did the whole time. Flashes of brilliance.
Yeah.
Flashes of brilliance, put up his numbers, and then at the end of the game, he just wasn't there to win it.
Yeah.
At least he didn't intercept the team out of the game, right? Like just turn the ball over, and at least you can't blame it on him. I don't think you can blame that loss on Phil.
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He'll go Hall of Fame. Not first ballot. He'll go Hall of Fame.
I hope he does. I've always been a fan, but the dude never won a playoff game.
That's true.
Never.
Yeah, that's wild.
No MVPs, no playoff wins. Like Matt Ryan will get in. Matt Ryan will get in for sure, first ballot.
Especially in that one season when Schottenheimer was still the head coach, and that's when they had LT and Gates, and I mean that was like one of the best teams to ever play in that game, and they didn't get in.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember who was being interviewed about it. I think it was Tony Gonzalez, and it might have been on Colin or somewhere else. But Colin asked him, "Did you ever play on a team where the offense was just so good you knew it couldn't be stopped?" And he brought up the Falcons team when they still had like Roddy White and young Julio Jones and him and Michael Turner, and they went and got Jackson for like a year from the Rams, and like the offense was just incredible. That was my first year playing fantasy. I think it was like 7 or 8 years ago, and I was new to fantasy, so I just took all of them, and my team went undefeated. Like we won 14 games in a row, and like so just total beginner's luck, total guessing. But that offense was insanely good, and then they made it to the playoffs. I think they made it to the conference championship or maybe the NFC championship, and they lost. But Tony Gonzalez even says that has nothing to do with the offense. Like they felt unstoppable. I feel like that last good year with LT was probably the same for Phillip and them, but that was before the Chargers built a defense at all. So sometimes you got to have a little bit of both, right? Like you can't just be you can't have all your eggs on one side of the ball, right? Like you just can't do it. So, but man, you're right. That's a crazy, crazy offense. Like people in like this next generation who talk about like Kelsey and and Kittle don't realize like Antonio Gates and Tony Gonzalez, like that generation as well is just insane. Like that is still like top tier 1 tight end generation until we get a few more years with Kittle. And then I feel like they're going to blow those stats out of the water, right? Like Kittle and Kelsey are eventually going to hold them all. But
I still remember that year with Marty Schottenheimer, I remembered how crazy it was that they fired him. They fired him that season. They didn't even give him another season to make a run, you know? And I was just like, man, that's absolutely crazy. You went went to the playoffs and looked that good until the playoffs, and then fired him like without like, oh my god, like, and it fired it's Marty Schottenheimer, like,
I think it's wild when that happens.
crazy.
If the coach makes the playoffs, and then you fire him, I just don't get it.
Sometimes it makes sense in all sports, though, right? Like, think about Golden State Warriors when they knew they had something special with Curry and Klay Thompson, and they had Coach Jackson, and everyone they fire Mark Jackson, and they replace him, ironically, with the dude who replaced him commentating NBA TNT games, right? So Kerr filled in for Jackson when Jackson coached Golden State for the TNT color commentator. And then they fire Jackson. Jackson goes back to being the TNT commentator, and Kerr goes into the head coach. It's just, your team's that good and special, and then you're just that short of being a championship team. So sometimes it does make sense because they were already talented, but it's fit, right? Marty Schottenheimer, we don't need to drill too much into him, but he was a play-safe coach.
Yeah.
Like, when he was in Cleveland, they had that adage, like 3 yards in a cloud of smoke, right? Like, he just field positioned the whole game until eventually maybe you won by 3, something like that. And when you have Phillip and that offense back in the day, you needed a coach that was a little more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So they thought, and then they brought in Norv Turner, offensive genius, right?
Yeah.
And it made sense. Phillip Rivers put up monster numbers, but then they still had no defense. So
yeah,
it didn't really matter.
I mean, it's like with this year, I know that Doug Peterson and the Eagles have had a rough past 2 years, but I honestly still I mean, it's the Eagles, so it makes sense. The fan base is like the most like radioactive of any fan base, but like
right.
Doug Peterson is literally the only coach that has taken him to a Super Bowl
ever, and they bailed on him that quick.
And to win the Super Bowl, and they still were like, nah, we're done.
I don't think the fans bailed on him that quick, though, right? Like, this was strictly the organization gave up on him.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the fans still love the guy.
I think they rode Carson Wentz too long.
This year, maybe. He wasn't going to turn it around at any point.
Mm-hmm.
I think Carson Wentz is showing us, though, that maybe – so I think there are some teams that are going to start waiting a little longer to extend those contracts, because we especially saw it with Carson Wentz. Like, man, he had that season that led them to a Super Bowl for Foles to win it, and they extended him out that season.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's being paid a ton of money, and he has not played well. He's probably going to lose the starting position.
But he doesn't want to stay. But does he have? Is anybody going to try to get him? Is he going to
just have so much money tied up in him?
It's a big contract to go get, so maybe not. Like, it's going to be hard for a team to make a move,
and not worth
especially if they don't. Yeah, especially if it's a risk, which it looks like it's a risk. Like, Derek's totally right.
Injury prone, plus you look like shit when you play.
So look at teams like we have that draft class with Baker, Lamar, Sam Darnold. Those guys are all nearing the end. Josh Allen. They're all nearing the end of their rookie contracts, right? So
right.
Cleveland, like they're gonna extend out Baker. But, like, do you do it right now, or do you wait another year? Because you went to the playoffs with him this year, but, like, now we just saw with Carson Wentz, who took them completely all the way through until he got hurt, and then they made the Super Bowl. So, like, do you extend somebody like Baker Mayfield right now with now seeing, like, evidence of, like, they just had this phenomenal season where they made the playoffs, but it's like, God, do you extend him right now?
Well, Wentz got hurt before the season was over, and then Foles did the rest.
Right, that's true.
But yeah,
he still got him in that position, though.
Same scenario.
And even with so right now, I mean, tomorrow, the Buffalo Bills are playing for the AFC Championship. Do you extend Josh Allen right now? Because
I say yes, because just his face.
100%.
I think because, one, not injury prone. 2, has improved 100%. 3, how, like,
he's a top 5 quarterback now.
He's also he was in the playoffs last year too.
Yep.
But the problem is though,
2 years of him now in playoffs.
But to your point though, Derek, yes, he's
Derek.
a top 5 quarterback, but so was Carson Wentz when they
so
paid
was
him.
Carson Wentz.
When they paid him, he was top 5. He was an MVP candidate.
But I don't think.
So it's crazy.
Do you think the money changes the way people play really that much?
You know who's a great example of all this though?
Yes.
Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, because they keep giving him these 1-year deals, he keeps having to show up. And when he was healthy, he kept showing up. He seems like the type of dude that when you give him the 5 or 6 year deal, he takes his foot off the gas a little bit. I'm not saying he will, but it seems like that might be what ends up happening when they pay him. Like all of a sudden, we're not seeing the same hungry Dak Prescott. I could be wrong, but that's what it seems like.
Looking at risk assessment too, though, it's like there's so much money tied up in Carson Wentz, who was a top 5 quarterback at the time, and it's like, so risk assessment. So Lamar Jackson, they've been to the playoffs now 2 years in a row. Do you make that extension now? Or do you wait? Do you wait one more year? Do you wait till they're on the last year of their rookie contract before you finally make those deals?
Lamar's the dude I don't extend because of his style of play. Go ahead, though, Sean. I know you're about to say something.
I just don't think teams should. But yeah, like Lamar Jackson's a great example. Like you haven't shown your worth in the playoffs.
He didn't throw a single. Yeah. I don't think he threw a single touchdown in 2 rounds. I don't think he threw a touchdown though in 2 rounds in the playoffs.
And then he got hurt, right? Like he got banged up, and
that's why you don't pay him, in my opinion. Out of all those quarterbacks, even though he's an MVP and he has won games for them, you don't pay him early because what if you like Michael Vick him, right? Like you sign him and then he gets hurt when Michael Vick got that contract, the very first game of preseason the next year, he got a season-ending injury, right?
Yeah.
And then Nike paid him, and then he went to jail for 2 years. So I guess that's a completely different situation.
Well,
but either way,
Michael
the injury part, the injury part is the important part, though, right? They paid him. He's a running quarterback. Ray Lewis, I think it was Lewis because they were playing the Ravens in the preseason. It was either Lewis or Suggs. Hits him in the backfield, out the whole year, right? Like, I don't know. He's the one you don't pay, even if he might have the most upside. I do think Josh Allen has the most upside. Baker's going to get a deal, though. I'm saying that right now. Like, Baker's going to get paid. He's going to get locked in. It's probably going to be around, like, Carson Wentz type money, too.
You think?
So that's the interesting one to me because I think he gets paid, like, this offseason. I think they lock him in on, like, a 5-year.
The Browns would be the team to do it because they're the ones that took him number 1 overall too. Like that, and that's where it would be. That's where I could see the scenario of that's where it turns in the Browns is the Browns, like because they do make moves like that.
But my point is that it's going to be Carson Wentz money, which means it's going to be top tier a couple years ago. Like they're not going to have to pay him top tier 2021 money because the salary cap's dipping next year because of like COVID and everything. So they're actually going to get him on what was a expensive deal 2 years ago, but is a great deal now, like 5-year, 144 million, something like that, affordable for the Browns for sure. So I think that's going to be the good deal. I think Josh Allen's going to get one of those like $200+ million contracts. Like,
yeah.
And that's what Lamar's also going to want, which is scary. Like he's going to want whatever Josh Allen makes.
I say those teams at this point, though, the smart thing to do really is for those teams is to wait one more season before you extend.
I don't think the Browns will. I think the Browns will make a move on Baker. And for them, it makes total sense. I would lock him in now because if he has another year like this next year, he's going to want even more money, and that's going to be rough. Then you're getting into Matt Ryan and Matt Stafford territory where those two became the highest paid, and then the next year the other one became the highest paid. And then what do you do with the rest of your team?
And then you risk losing them too. So that's the other part of it is if they are. So let's say they don't resign. So that's the risk, right? You don't sign Baker Mayfield. He does perform again at a top level. They do the same thing they did. They didn't extend him. Now he wants more money. Other teams,
and if you don't give it to him, you can leave.
You don't give it to him, other teams can step in and go, hey, won't you come on over here?
Well, I think more teams need to. I hate how much. I know that they're like the players and they want to do what they want to do. It's kind of annoying from like a fan looking into the situation. I think.
Well, I'm a basketball fan, and I'll tell you what, I don't think NBA players, for the large majority, give a shit what we think. Like they're going to request a trade to whatever team they want to be on at any time, right? Like, like it's like with the James Harden thing. Like, oh, I really love Houston. I gave my all to that city, but it's winning time now. It's time to win. It's time to get paid. Let's go to New York. Who cares? Who cares how the fans feel at that point?
If you want that, and it has so like. What I'm saying more is I wish that there was more strict rules, not so much like for players to go where they want to, but I don't know. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Well, so the NBA has found a good way around that, and that is that the max extension, right? So Giannis this last year was able to sign for more by staying with the team he was already on than if he went somewhere else. They're able to offer him that max extension, which is just a little bit extra money per year, like a few extra million, but that really adds up over 5 years, right? Like Giannis, by staying with the Bucks, probably made an extra 30 mil. So they do incentivize it in that way. The NFL has never tried anything like that, where if you stick with the team you're already on, you can maybe go over the salary cap a little bit to sign them, right? Like, that's a good idea. It doesn't always work in the NBA, which we've seen, but we just saw with Giannis that in some situations it does. I think Paul George did the same thing with the Thunder before they traded him. So it does happen, at least. But also as a basketball fan, though, I'm incredibly sad all the time because the Spurs are super young this year. We have a lot of good young talent. I'm like, oh, that guy's going to be a Laker. That guy's going to be a Net. Like, I'm starting to feel like how Seattle or Mariner fans feel when you're like, oh, this guy's hitting dingers. He's going to be a Yankee next year. Like, this guy's striking out 12 people a game. He's going to be a Dodger next year.
Don't get attached.
Yeah, when you have a young team in these, like, big market leagues. The NFL is the only non-big market league, though, Sean. Like, that's the only thing that's, like, good right now is, like, Cleveland can keep Baker Mayfield if they want to. You know, like, if Baker Mayfield was a basketball player, the Cavs would not be able to keep Baker Mayfield. Has too much star power, right? Like, that dude would be in LA next year.
Yeah.
So at least there's that.
I don't know. I want that like that team loyalty thing, and I think like the money kind of breaks that. But
yeah,
like I want those players that you're talking about to want to stay where they're playing. I don't want them to go, I want more money, and I can just do it.
Or I just want to.
Like, in the NBA, you can get that extension, but then it doesn't. It's not about. For some players, it's not about trying to win something. And for me, as like, if I was a player, because of my mentality, it wouldn't be about the money. It'd be about wanting to win as many.
But isn't that why Harden went to the Nets?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Like, he wanted to win.
Yeah, but
Kyrie's fucking that up. But
did he get paid though? Did he get paid more?
No, it's just the same contract. No, he has 2 years and an extension left on that deal. Houston did not need to trade him. They could have forced him into Houston for 2 or 3 more years.
Yeah.
They let him go because he was unhappy. Basketball's so weird.
So that's kind of like a cool example of like he was frustrated in Houston because how many times have they been in the moment and failed? So that's a cool example of a player trying.
Well, they did build that around him too, though, which is. I mean, I think a nicer example for basketball would probably be Damian Lillard, even who wants to win one, but he really wants to win one in Portland.
We have Lillard and Giannis.
And Giannis, like, these guys are like they just really want to bring the championship to the team that drafted them. And I think that's awesome. Like, Lillard could have because he signed that extension, he could have easily gone to the Lakers, though. I mean, just easily.
There's also I know we didn't draft him, but then there's also DeRozan to the Spurs. He signed the extension.
Yeah,
that was supposed to be Toronto's extension, but since they traded him, that extension offer, that 5th year, goes to San Antonio now. So he was able to re-sign for San Antonio for next year, and he already did that.
And this was the guy who was very sad to be traded.
But I think he did it because the Spurs showed loyalty in him, right? They said, we have confidence in you. We're trading Kawhi Leonard for you. So that meant something to him. So you can tell he's a really loyal guy. But also at the same time, I think from what I read online, maybe it's just fan forums and stuff, but the organization did not expect him to re-sign that. They expected him to opt out. They were going to have an extra $30 million a year to spend. They were probably already cooking, figuring out where they're going to spend it. And then he's like, oh, I'm re-signing. And now we're like, well, now we have no more salary cap space. So thanks a lot, old man. But
I mean, it's still cool.
know.
I also think that before he got traded to them, too, I think he underestimated how much he was really going to like Coach Pop, though, too.
Right.
Because I just don't think he had. I mean, everyone knows who Coach Pop is, but I know that, like, I remember when we were doing the show, like, he was traded, and that was like the first thing you heard about was like Coach Pop reaching out to him to be like, hey, you know.
Yeah, and he was on Team USA, and Pop was coaching Team USA. So a week later, they were at Team USA practice, and he's singling him out and going in like training with just him. And that's an interesting team. We lost to the Mavs last night, which I don't like that loss at all. Like I'm pretty sore about it because the Mavs have like 4 guys out right now. They're one of those teams that just have like they're decimated. We play the Wizards tomorrow. If we lose that game, I'm becoming a soccer fan for sure because they had to go sign 2 people today.
I've had 0 Portland basketball for like a while now because of
they're one of the teams that's like way behind, right? Like
Washington. I was going to ask you, what's the postponed? There was a couple postponed games.
COVID stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's 4 teams that have been really decimated by it where they're way behind now, and I don't know how the NBA catches them up. The Wizards are playing their first game since I think January 11th against us tomorrow. January 11th.
That's all.
They had to go sign 2 people today just so they have enough people to play tomorrow.
Right.
So if we lose that game, and that also drops those below 500, man, I'm taking a break for a while. I'm taking a couple-week breather. I say that, and I'll be stressed watching the game the next day against the Pelicans. I take no days off.
Yeah.
And I just want to die the whole time. It's like when you're watching football and your team's losing, you can't look away, but you just have to sit there and be stressed the hell out the whole time.
That was every Blazer game in the bubble last year, though. Just every single one of those games, I was like, "Stop, you guys! You've got to win by more than one." Like
I watched those games as well, and I don't even care. And I was sweaty, so
dude, those things, my little heart just couldn't take it.
They need to do a study on men in America that are sports fans versus non-sports fans and who lives longer, because I guarantee that's super one-sided. Like
that's so true. Oh my god!
I guarantee we've all taken at least 10 years of stress off of our lives. Like,
oh yeah,
I could still have hair, guys. I could still have hair.
I think I handle a little differently than you guys. I just drink it out.
Yeah, which I'm sure is way healthier than just.
I mean,
coping with it.
Well, because I'm not stressing. I'm just drinking a little bit. I mean, yeah, it hurts here, but I'm good everywhere else.
But
I'll say this.
That's where it takes it off though for you is that you
you're still cutting your life down, man.
You associate sports with the drinking, so you watch a lot of sports, so you drink a lot. So,
but yeah, I don't. So I only drink during football though, not basketball, not baseball, not hockey, just football. Football is the only game where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to drink during this.
So you only thrash your body for roughly 17 to 24 weeks a year.
Yeah, it's not
what you're saying.
Yeah,
so daily for 17 to 24 weeks a year.
But think about if it was baseball, it would be It wouldn't be
You'd
week.
be dead.
Day. It would
Right,
be
but
day.
9 months. We carry that baby to term in baseball, man.
Yeah. So or baseball or hockey or basketball.
Jesus,
You'd be 110
It wouldn't
pound
be
alcoholic.
week. It would be days.
spring training is right around the corner.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't wait for this year, man. I actually haven't been as excited for a season as this one in a long time.
The next season of football.
We should get into our picks, though, guys. I only got like 8 to 10 minutes left.
That's not a lot.
I got really caught up in this convo.
On the baseball thing, I was going to say I'm glad it's going to be a full season this year because I actually get to be a happy Mariners fan between February and April. So that's exciting.
I knew you were going to.
That's when they win games, baby.
That's when they win games. That's the time of the year where I get to be like, man, what a great young roster this team could really be at.
How optimistic.
Before we make these picks,
yeah,
Zach, I need you to take your phone, get a tripod, set it up, let me watch the McGregor fight over your phone.
Oh, dude, have you seen this guy yet?
Oh, yeah. So I'm good. You're gonna
look at this little magnetic phone wallet, right? It's got all my stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay,
right?
That's pretty cool.
It uses that new MagSafe, and then when I wanted to use it as a tripod, bop.
Wow.
And it just sets up the whole time.
You just changed my entire life.
Dude, new iPhones, man, that magnet.
You guys could just stream the game to each other, but
well, he's gonna.
I could also. I mean, you can open it. It's ESPN Plus. Where ESPN Plus pay-per-views, I can just give you my login. I shouldn't be saying this on the air, but I can just give you my login. You can log in and watch it from somewhere else. Like,
I only want.
I've never done it before. But
this is the first I've heard of it.
I've heard from
first time I'm even hearing you can do this.
I've heard from people that have stolen my identity before, that they really enjoyed watching the fight from a different location.
You thank me with a cheese platter, a cheese basket.
Yeah. All right. So for the playoff pick'em,
this one's weird. Did you guys read these yet?
I just made all my picks.
Every time there's less games, they have to get more weird with the questions they ask because there's less games. You can't just pick games. You got to pick other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's where it gets fun, in my opinion. Like, we get to pick some weird categories this week.
Yeah. I'm going to need
Let's go.
Okay.
So for the first game they have on here is the NFC Championship games, the Buccaneers and the Packers. 73% picked the Packers, and I'm right along there with them. I also picked the Packers.
I'm picking the Packers. Only because I don't want Tom to get this. I don't
in here. Yeah.
I do like Tom. I loved what he did with the Patriots. Good for you. But you don't need this. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You don't need this.
I picked the Packers to win last week because I wanted them to go in and beat the Buccaneers this week. So I'm going with the Packers again.
One more thing. I think it's really cool. The Packers did nothing for Aaron in the draft. They kind of fucked him, and then he was like, well, fuck you. I'm going to have like one of the best seasons I've had in years. So I think it's really cool.
Go ahead.
It's two stories, right? Like, it's the Tampa Tom story where he could just do it anywhere, right? Or the Aaron Rodgers story, which is exactly what you're saying. They didn't really give him the weapons. But I would argue that it turned out that he already had some, right? Like,
it's like the movie where the guy
pretty talented.
The best friend loves the girl, and then she realizes he's been there the whole time.
Yeah, there's a song about that. I think it's Taylor Swift's song.
So
we could do a whole show about that lady.
Yeah, we can.
Also on this one, still a Steeler fan. I would like to not reward Antonio Brown ever. So keep him. I don't want him to have a Super Bowl ring. Nah.
He got banged up last week too, and I don't. I think he's going to be back. I didn't really check the injury report for this, but
if Mike Evans can come back, Antonio can come back.
Man,
I'm just looking at this. I'm just looking at this as like not storyline, just strictly who I think is the better team. I think the Bucs are probably, besides for the Bills, the hottest team in football right now. I think they're hotter than. They just got so much momentum, man. Yeah, but eventually a team's going to start getting to Tom, and I thought it would be the Saints, and they cannot handle that pressure. Like, any game where they've gotten pressure on Tom, he's crumbled. I'm I want to see how Rodgers does against Brady finally, right? Like, Rodgers seems like a dude who, when he goes against another top dude, kind of wilts. And that's always been a knock for him to me. I want to see him overcome that, and I hope he does. I picked the Packers. I think they're an overall better team.
Okay.
But
yeah,
rooting for them.
For what will occur first in the game, I went with Aaron Rodgers passing touchdown.
But that's hard.
I went Tom Brady passing touchdown because I think they're going to. I think the very first drive, I think the Bucs are going to come out and drive the field. I think they're going to get the ball first. I think they're going to score on the opening drive.
That's the coin flip, dude. That depends on the coin flip.
That's all right.
I think they elect to receive, and then I think if the Packers win the coin flip, I think they elect to defend. So I think either way, the Bucs are getting the ball first, is what I'm saying, and I think they're going to drive the field and score. But I don't think that's going to be a trend. Okay. That's all I'm saying. I got Tampa Tom scoring the first TD. What do you got?
I'm going with what you just said. I didn't pick. I was too scared. I was like, but then you put it in perspective for me. Like, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was like, that's too much uncertainty. I don't know because a coin is 50-50.
But you know what I almost went with? I kind of thought about this. Like, what if neither team scores on the opening drive? It would be hilarious if it was Tom Brady. First thing that happened was Tom Brady pick. That's actually what I had picked the first time. When I went through this, I had Tom Brady pick because maybe they get a lot of pressure. Maybe he throws one of those Tom Brady duds we see in the playoffs. That's wishful thinking, though. That's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
It fits Bruce Arians' coaching style, though.
It does. All right. Will Davante Adams score a touchdown in the first half? I put yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think he gets one in the first. I think he gets one in the second.
Yeah. Who will record more completions? So completions, I went Tom. I just kept picturing him throwing that ball through that little target, and I'm like, yeah, he'll hit his targets more.
I went with Rodgers.
But I think Rodgers will get more yards.
I think Rodgers is going to get more everything. I'm going Rodgers. And I decided on this one. Whoever I picked to win the game was who I was going to pick for this category, right? Like, it was just that simple for me. I picked the Packers to win. I'm going to take it. You could totally be right because Brady's going to be passing all day, where the Packers can run the ball if they need to.
Yep. Sean.
Yeah, I went with Aaron.
Okay. Who record more receiving yards? I went with the 91% on this one. I thought it was a no-brainer. Davante Adams more than Mike Evans. I don't know if I like Mike Evans is still playing hurt.
Yeah,
if they said receiving touchdowns, it's a different story.
Yeah.
He's jump ball. He's their jump ball guy.
Yeah. I went Adams. I thought it was a no-brainer.
Me too. Totally agree.
Absolutely.
I don't think Evans is a yards guy. And they have a lot of options. They have too many options to say anybody on Tampa is going to be the yards leader.
Yeah. Who will record more sacks? I went Buccaneers defense.
I feel like I should have, but I didn't.
Same, man. The Bucs have the pass rushers, right? Like that's a. I wouldn't say it's a plus to them. It might be dead even. Packers have really improved their pass rush this year, but the Bucs have the name brand guys for sure. Mm-hmm. I want Packers. Once again back to how I think they win the game, pressuring Tom Brady. So maybe that's not sacks, maybe it's just hurries, but I think they get to him a lot.
I mean, hurries with Tom are a lot of sacks, but yeah.
You're totally right. Yeah. Because he cannot throw a good ball anymore when he's being hurried.
Did you go? Okay. So, and Sean went
Packers.
Okay. All right. Who will record most rushing yards in the game? Again, no brainer. I thought Aaron Jones. I don't see it being anyone from the Buccaneers. I think they're going to be throwing the whole game.
Yeah. And it's too hard to decide who the guy's going to be there, right? Like Fournette got the start last week, where I think Ronald Jones is the better younger back, right? Mm-hmm. This week it could be Rojo. It could be Leonard Fournette again. It's too hard to tell to confidently pick one of them, where Aaron Jones kind of had a dud of a first half last week, and then all of a sudden the second half was all him, right? I think he's just going to get his at some point. At some point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sean, you went Aaron Jones as well?
Yeah, I almost considered just switching to any other player because that's funny.
Yeah.
But
It is funny, yeah. You could tell
Aaron Rodgers.
you could tell ESPN couldn't even commit because they're like Aaron Jones or literally anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, you could have picked one of his backups because Jamal Williams, didn't he have like a monster game in the first half last week? Yeah. So,
I like that. Okay, so AFC Championship game, I'm going with the Bills because at this point I'm just ride or die. Like I've been picking them every week. I'm gonna pick them again this week. Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
Crazy they cleared Pat Mahomes in less than 4 days from concussion protocol. I think he's gonna go out there and do whatever he wants. This is gonna be a high scoring game. We'll get to that on that pick, right? Like the combined points, I believe. I'm not ruling them out. I'm not ruling fourth quarter Chiefs out of anything.
I'm not ruling them out either. I just at this point, for me, it just feels silly to pick the Bills every single one of these weeks and then to go for this one to not do it. So I'm just riding it out at this point.
I have Super Bowl envy, so fuck the Chiefs.
Right. That makes sense, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's also just the argument that it's so hard to do 2 years in a row, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not the Patriots, it really just doesn't happen.
But if he does do it, if Mahomes goes to it and does it and wins it, there's the conversation of, is he going to surpass Brady?
Oh, and then there's the dynasty talk. People were they won one last year, and then all of a sudden people are going on, like Nick Wright's going on TV saying dynasty for the next decade. And you're like, chill for a second, man. How many times have we said that before?
Yeah.
By the way, I do think they win, and I do think the Packers beat them in the Super Bowl. So I don't think we're going to be having those conversations. I think the Packers are the best team in football, plain and simple.
And that's the thing, is Packers were almost the best team in football last year. They just met. They just met Mostert.
And think about this, man. The Chiefs, as much as we want to anoint them like the top dog, almost didn't get out of the AFC Championship last year. Then I think the 49ers beat them for 3 quarters of football.
Mm-hmm. I think you are right.
Well, in every single game that they played last year in the playoffs, they had to do come from behind wins to do it. Like it was as you have coined on this show. And it was hero ball the entire playoffs last.
It's not a great way to win championships, but they make it work.
They made it work last year. By all accounts last year, I thought the Titans were winning that game. I really did. I thought the Titans had that game locked up. I thought it was a Titans Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they came out and made it happen, so.
Yeah, I mean, Pat Mahomes has lost one time in the last 27 games, so it's just really hard to go against them right now.
Yeah.
But the Bills are there, man, and if the Bills win this game, I am going to be rooting for them so damn hard to get one in the Super Bowl. Like I haven't been this in on a team since my team was there. So like I'll go nuts for them against the Packers. And by the way, that's 2 teams that I like. I don't know the last time I can say there was a Super Bowl with like 2 teams that I was like, either team's a great choice. Yeah. I guess last year for me, I had nothing against either team. I kind of like the Niners. I kind of like the Chiefs.
Me too.
And that's what sucks for me is had the Niners not been there,
you would have taken the
Chiefs.
I mean, honestly, but I don't hate Green Bay either, though.
I remember last year distinctly rooting for the Chiefs because I wanted Reed to get one.
Yeah, I think I was the same.
I wanted Andy Reid. I think even on the show that was the narrative that we were kind of talking is like I wanted Andy Reid to finally get his Super Bowl championship.
It was, I remember.
Yeah.
Because you were there, yeah.
I liked Andy Reid in Philadelphia, even though I don't like Philadelphia. I liked Andy Reid, and I liked him And I liked him with Alex Smith, especially in the Chiefs. So, yeah, Andy Reid. And now we got his, so they can fuck off. I don't care.
Yeah.
Now let's get Rodgers 2. Now let's get Rodgers 2 or Josh Allen 1. I don't any other option.
Or the city of Buffalo 1.
Or anyone but Tom Brady a championship.
I think that's what we're all kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess if Tom Brady wins the NFC game, I guess my hope is that my fear and hope are kind of one and the same, is that would Buffalo beat Tom Brady? Like, you got that young quarterback. Like, it gives me chills of like Rams and Patriots again. Like,
God, that's exactly what I thought too.
I don't think it would be that bad.
I think
Jared Goff's a fucking joke.
I mean, I think Allen's definitely better than Jared Goff, but it definitely gives me those chills of like that narrative going into that Super Bowl was like young versus old, and
the young versus
Boomer versus who will score the first touchdown of the game?
This
is the hard one.
Yeah.
I put Stephon Diggs, and the reason why I did is because between the two teams, so Diggs is like the best option to go for Allen, and Mahomes has Hill and Kelsey, so it's like
saturated. His choices are saturated.
Yeah, where I just felt like Diggs is going to get it mostly. That was my reasoning that I went with.
I think that's a great pick.
I think you're right on that. What did you do, Zach? Because I didn't pick.
I went low percentage. I went Tyreek Hill. I see either them taking a big shot early, right? Like, just like, let's take a shot at the beginning of the game to set the tone, because I'm all about setting the tone, baby. Or if they're around the end zone, doing some like end around to them, or one of those like quick little passes that they do, or like a shuffle pass where he is in some sort of motion over the middle. They just have so many ways to get him the ball, right? I think Kelsey's going to get his at some point. I think he'll get the most catches of anyone in this game, but I think the first touchdown goes to Tyreek. I like him as like the sneaky pick in this one.
Okay. I'm going to go with any other.
Ooh, maybe like a Hardman or something?
After talking about it, I'm going to go with any other, because if both teams have a good drive, there's a high chance that Mahomes or
Josh Allen sneaks one in.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just go any other,
or even go like a dark horse, like Singletary runs one in, or
Singletary, or even Moss, or even a running back from.
Yeah,
guys, I'd shave my eyebrows off if Singletary got the first one. There's just no way that dude knows how to score a touchdown.
Oh, now that I'm thinking about the any other player thing in this game, I'm also going to lean towards my Steelers bias as well. I don't want to reward Le'Veon Bell with one, so now I guess I'm rooting even harder.
Is Clyde Edwards-Helaire back yet?
I don't know. I was going to recheck the NFL fantasy before tomorrow, but I haven't looked. I don't know.
Will Tyreek Hill record a 20-plus yard reception in the first half? I'm actually surprised it's so low for 73%. I thought 20 yards is easily doable in the first half. I thought the question would be a little more of a coin flip if it was like 50-yard plus. I could easily see Tyreek Hill getting a 20-yard, more than a 20-yard reception in this game.
Yeah. I had to say yes.
Some sneaky goddamn pass from Mahomes. He'll get one.
I actually had it as a no, but then after you just spoke and me realizing that I had him slotted to score the first touchdown, I'm being very contradictory to say he's going to score. He's going to score a 3-yard touchdown, guys, and you can suck it. So I just changed.
Who will record? Oh, you went with yes too, Sean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Who will record more passing yards? I went Mahomes.
Wow, Josh Allen's the favorite here.
Yeah, the favorite, but I went Mahomes.
I went Mahomes as well. I just think because if it comes down to it, I think Allen might have to depend on his legs. So But God, really, I don't know, because like Baker Mayfield had some pretty good cut and runs, and I think Allen has better legs than Baker as well. But I mean, that kind of backs up my pick there.
I think the idea behind him being picked so much is just that the Bills have a much better defense than the Chiefs, right? That's what people are banking on. But if you really believe that, then like the Bills should win this game. Then more people should be picking the Bills to win the game if they think that Josh Allen's going to go out there and do whatever he wants. Yeah. I think Pat Mahomes is going to ball out, especially in the fourth quarter. That's what he does in these playoff games. So I'm going to go with Mahomes. But
unless he gets concussed.
I'm surprised none of us picked Josh Allen. I'm surprised.
I mean, I want Josh Allen to do it. I mean, I want him to, do everything in this game. I just feel like I feel like even for my pick to pick the Bills, I can still pick Mahomes to do more passing yards because you see it. You do see it. Like
and garbage time yards, right? Like when you're losing, you need to throw the ball. So
and they will be losing.
Will either Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes score a rushing touchdown? I'm so surprised this is so low. For 78% picked yes.
I don't know how
everyone would pick yes. I picked yes. I absolutely think Josh Allen specifically will rush in a touchdown.
Yeah, I think it's wild that 22% say no. These people are fucking high, right?
I mean, maybe it doesn't happen. I'm just surprised so many people said no.
Yeah, you're right, Sean. They're very stoned, for sure.
They have to be.
I guess what I'm saying is I'm surprised so many people said no. Even if it doesn't happen, I'm surprised so many people said no. That said, I picked yes, and I 100% do think that Josh Allen will rush in a touchdown.
I think this should be 100% for just all across the
board. For either, though, yeah.
I said yes. We can move on. We've kind of talked about it during other sections of this.
Yeah.
Who will record more receptions? I've a no-brainer. I said Diggs, but simply because Kelsey has more saturation. I'm just 100% Kelsey has more saturation. I think Diggs will get a lot of looks.
Wow. I said no-brainer Kelsey because I think Kelsey's going to have 9 to 12 catches in this game again. Like, he's just proven it, didn't he? Wasn't he the catch leader last week?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Which is what I was. Huh?
Do you know what he got last week? I know it was a lot. I watched the game.
I didn't watch it. I just know that I picked it and then I got it right.
I know it was a lot because I was there. Anyways, fuck me. Let's go.
I watched some of the
big Diggs because fuck Travis.
Bills at Chiefs, how many points will be scored? I also said this is a high scoring game. I went with the 56 to 65 points.
Wow, that's
same.
Really? You guys think it's gonna be that high?
I think it'll be high.
I think it's gonna be like 35-28. So yeah.
Okay.
What's funny is I've wavered between this and 0 and 45.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm that's where I'm at, but I'm kind of scared now.
I went high. I kind of thought like high or low. I'm like, do I go low? Like,
I think I'm gonna switch to the 46-55. That's what
Yeah, it's a little more.
I just think whoever wins this game scoring in the 30s. That was my logic behind it. I mean, let's see. Chiefs always scored 22 last week, and Buffalo always scored 17, though. So then in that case, you'd be right, Sean. Just with that logic. I think whoever wins this game, though, has got to score 30 points. That's just my opinion.
How many combined rushing yards will be recorded this round? And that's between both games, right?
Yep.
I said 150. I'm going Price is Right rules where I'm trying to aim under, but as close to it as possible.
I'm going to put 177 like a weird fuck.
So.
Because I think Jones is going to get 100 himself.
Well, so I think every team is capable of getting 100 total yards of rushing, right? Like, somehow. I think the Chiefs are going to be the one team that doesn't.
Question.
So essentially what I did was let's give them all 400 yards, right? 100 yards per team. And then I reduced some because of the Chiefs and because the Bills don't have a primary guy. So I think that'll be a collective like 80 yards there. So I went 325.
I don't think the Buccaneers are going to be running it a ton either, though.
Rojo and Fournette both playing.
Damn, that's a tough one.
I'm going.
And I think combined, the Packers get you 125 to 140 just with all their players.
I'm going 377.
I'll up mine to 200, but I'm not going any higher than that.
Yeah, I'm 325.
I'm keeping it staying.
Sean, did you just price of right me?
I'm going 377.
Go dollar, Bob.
I thought you said 327, like 2 points higher than me. I was like, you piece of shit.
I know. I'm going to now though.
I'm going 325 and a half yard, please.
I'm going 327 now.
Oh, you did 325. I'm going to go 324.
Okay, I'm going to go 329 now that you just said that.
Yeah, can you go ahead and give me a 324?
Okay,
I love watching Prices Right when they do that too. There's always that one guy on the very end.
Yeah.
Who just undercuts everybody.
I'm gonna go 329.
And then the bastard gets to go spin the wheel. It's a little prick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the little prick.
That's okay, man.
I'm gonna be your little prick, boy. Anyways, is that it? We did it.
We did do it.
Okay, and the only question I had was why did those NBA's games got postponed? It was COVID, I assumed.
Yep.
I hope next week we can talk more about hockey.
Yeah, we will.
Well, there's no games next week in football, so
we'll have to talk about hockey. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching the show, listening to the show.
Let's go Dustin tonight, baby. No McGregor. Let's go Dustin.
Stop it. You stop that.
Hey. If I was doing my picks, I would pick McGregor, but I'm saying let's go, Dustin.
All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Enjoy football tomorrow. Enjoy basketball today and tomorrow. We'll see you soon. We'll talk to you next week. Go Warriors.
Go Warriors.
Go Warriors.